testify and the judge asks you various questions, you're testifying for a reason based upon truth. So if you falsify while you're under oath, judges can take exception to that, and basically you're literally breaking the law. So this judge didn't really go down that road, but there are judges who have literally penalized people for testifying under oath. And Beth, welcome aboard. Hey Beth, how you doing? And thank you for being there. And yes, it did fail, and so we want this to continue on for not just the purpose of you and I and everybody who's been attacked, but people who have been harassed, the ongoing harassment in the community, and just this person being a poser, an agitator. And I mean, he tries to engage and involve himself in everything that was wrong. He said that the July 14th, thing that he was doing outside of, with the homeless evictions, he said that was his thing, and he was heading that off. So I want him to claim that, because basically that illegal action that he was doing, if he's claiming that, then again. If he's claiming that, then yeah, go ahead and claim the criminal activity, and we'll take care of that too, because there are ongoing conversations with the federal authorities, all the way up to the federal authorities, that they've taken note, and we are continuously, and we're adamant, and I am adamant. I can speak for myself, and lose space for everybody else, but I can speak for myself when I say that I'm not going to stop until there's a prosecution. But either way, even if they don't prosecute, there's a civil litigation on the table that will continue. And we're not going to stop letting the community know what this person is, what he's all about, and the big scammer that he is. I'm going to yield right there. So here is the order of, not the order, well, this is the motion that was entered today. And notate, I want everybody to notate, today, this matter that he tried to, as the respondent, I'm the petitioner. He's the respondent, just so you know. Look what it says. We can go right here to the third drop down, and it says the respondent's motion is what? Denied. Denied. So, I'm sitting.
Even though most likely, Jedidiah, as he said in court, and he keeps saying, he will probably try to go online and claim to be the victim yet again, when no one is coming after him, no one's threatening him with any physical bodily harm, no one is even defaming him, and while he constantly does that to me and others, he's making threats of physical harm, and he's defaming us, and that's not okay. Now, free speech, if people want to say, oh, we think you stink, we don't like you, we hate gay people, or whatever. That's fine, right? People can say whatever they want. But it just is so crazy to me that we know already he's going to come on and he's going to somehow try to spin this to say that he, and also Mayor Clark and whoever else he's working with, that this was a victory for them. And that's why I'm glad you're sharing this, because it's like, no, this is not a victory, because he is not a victim. He is not being threatened in any way. He is the one that is making threats, and he's the one that is doing the stalking and the cyberbullying and everything else.
And just for the purpose of transparency, the testimony today that he gave, again, which was lies, false testimony, and the judge was good not to call him out on it, but to be honest with you, I definitely wish he would have, but, for me, it's, what really took the cake is, he's trying to totally circumvent what he did on July 14th. And then he said that, it was dismissed in the court of law. So again, if that case was dismissed and that is proven that Harvey literally dismissed that case, then Harvey's got bigger problems than what they think that they got. So, if they dismiss that, then there's still a problem with Harvey. If they didn't dismiss it, then Jedidiah has a problem standing alone by himself. And, that $30,000 lawsuit that he has on the table that we have against Jedidiah, that's not going to go away. And so, he can try to spin it whichever way he wants, but the more he tries to spin it, the more collateral damage he does to himself, especially when you have testimony that's literally on the table that we could subpoena when you have testified, and you're saying that you were working. So my question is, were you working for the city of Harvey or not? Because if you were employed, my question is, how were you paid? Who were you working for, and who was giving the orders? Right?
Absolutely. That's the stuff that we want to know. And it's so ironic because Jed reminds me of Clark, reminds me of President Trump, other people that are known to be narcissists, because typically, narcissists will accuse others of doing the things that they're doing themselves. So do you remember one of Jed's recent accusations of me is that he says he's going to try to take my house or something, and part of it was because he said, Ryan's lied under oath. We're going to get him for perjury. I've never lied under oath, but isn't this interesting how just today alone you said, oh, well, that's at least one thing where I could tell you right there, Jed lied under oath. So it's so interesting to see time and time again where these narcissists falsely accuse other people of doing the things that they themselves do. It's almost like Jed is telling on himself.
And again, this testimony is all subpoenable. We can really subpoena this stuff in open court. So my thing is that, I love it when he speaks, as idiotic as he may sound. I love it when he speaks. And, the thing that, so if LNC is listening, he actually tried to play a copy of our conversation in our interview in court today, which, literally backfired on him. Then another conversation, I guess, with me and you, Ryan, which, it's like, no one's being threatened here. There's no physical threats. And the judge said it. Look, I'm not going to try to police somebody's First Amendment rights. This is not what this court is for, and so.
And I feel so passionate about that. I'm glad the judge ruled on the side of First Amendment rights, because Jed and Clark and other people as well. Like I said, it's not just Jed, but Mayor Clark has really been using Jed as a mouthpiece, because Mayor Clark is a coward and he loves to try to go after people, but he never wants to directly be held accountable or directly respond. So he's been basically handing Jed his talking points. And a big part of it is saying, well, how can they talk about me so much if they have an order of protection against me? How can they, how come they were bringing me up, or they're obsessed about me? Whatever. And the judge today just totally killed that and said, we're not going to police free speech. People can talk about whatever they want to talk about. Because you beat someone up, you don't then get to beat that person up and then come back and say, oh, and by the way, now you can never talk about me. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's just another form of intimidation, bullying, harassment. So when we're talking about Jed, again, are we defaming him? No. Are we threatening him physically? Are we threatening him harm? No. So therefore, it doesn't matter how much or how little we talk about Jed. That has nothing to do with anything. Nothing to do with anything. But he always loves to cry the victim and play. Sorry, I'm going to sit down for a second because my dog he really, really wants to be next to me. So, Jed, we know he's going to keep crying the victim, even though he's the one that is victimizing others.
And welcome Gravity, welcome Javar, welcome French, again, Beth, welcome. So, we are at I think we're at a turning point in the struggle on the ground with Jedidiah. People are realizing who he is. They're realizing that, and I like that, French, homeless terrorist. I think the last thing we said was agent of chaos, but people are realizing who this guy is and how much of a grifter, agent of chaos. And the thing is, he's gradually being slowed down. If you were in that courtroom today, or if anybody got a chance to actually see the presentation, I would have thought it was like a 6-year-old on, telling on his playmate, about, you did something wrong to me type thing. And it's like, are you serious? Right.
Right. And it's like, right. If you continue that analogy of, let's say, a kindergartner, it's like the kindergartner has his bullies, like, you know, Clark and Sheila and whoever else that he, you know, Jed's associating with, Raheem, and they beat up and they steal other kids' toys. But then when other people want to actually hold him responsible, then they're like, teacher, he's talking
For
about
sure.
me.
For sure. And that's what it sounded like. It's crazy. And, you know, this guy claims to be somebody who wants, and then he's talking about him running for Congress and I'm running for Congress. Well, last thing we checked, you're not running for Congress. And obviously you're, you know, I mean, what is it? You know, can we get one line straight? Was it Javar or who was it? Gravity asked a question. Why don't you answer that? So, what do you think? He said, "Can you explain how that tape he played backfired?" Thanks. Gravity said that. What do you think, Ryan? I think it's the LNC conversation. I think it pretty much all backfired, but the LNC oh, you know what? It was two posts. The one about the guns, which was one, and
the one about the guns, really, I think that made Jed look really bad, and I'm really very glad that the judge didn't fall for it and wasn't intimidated. Because at first, Jed presented the post that you had made saying, you know, basically, I advocate people to defend themselves legally, and there was nothing wrong with what you said in your post. You weren't calling for anyone to go out and shoot anyone or harm anyone. But when Jed presented it the first time to the judge, he left out part of the post, mostly the part that it was explaining, where you were explaining that you're not an advocate of violence, but that you were just saying that, you know, you're not gonna be a continual victim and just let people beat on you or others. And so then you brought up to the judge, right? You want to tell people, like, what did you say?
Well, I mean, you know, basically he was showing like an edited version of the post, which, you know, was cut off and everything. I said, no, you know, Your Honor, that's not the complete version. And that's not what was said. I mean, that was one part of it in reference to that. And then, you know, when the judge actually read the whole complete version, you know, the synopsis that she gave was, look, you know, this is advocated for gun rights. This is advocating for someone who's, again, back to their First Amendment rights. And the thing about it is he was also talking about, you know, using the system, courts of law, like orders of protection. And she nodded her head, yeah, you know. So, I mean, it really made him look stupid, right? You know, so, I mean, not look stupid. He is stupid, okay? He's a functional illiterate, okay? But, you know, for somebody who, you know, I think INA needs to get a better leader, you know, and I think that INA, if it's going to be an organization, it's not an organization. If this INA is going to be taken seriously, then this person can't be the person who's the leader of it, because, I mean, he's just this is a poor excuse for a human being, and he's a functional illiterate. Lying your way through court won't work for me. It won't work with me, and if he wants to try that route, then he's going to get destroyed every time. I'm just going to keep it all real. And so it was a win in a lot of ways, because, I mean, you know, again, if you look at this third drop down, it says the petitioner's motion is denied. So, I mean, he tried to literally have the whole case thrown out, basically based upon, you know, something that he said was, you know, he literally started off by saying I threatened to kill him, and you know, we were harassing people. His mom had been harassed, and he literally tried to tie all of that in. But look, dummy, if you don't have actual proof, if you don't have police reports, do you know that the judges are not trying to hear that? And you know that very well, Ryan, because we went through this whole ordeal, you know?
I'm very pleased that the judge, I thought she was, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. This was not Judge Corbin. This was a different judge, but she was very, very patient in allowing Jed time. He was standing up at the stand and he was scrolling, and he said, "Oh, hold on, Judge.
I mean, look, we were sitting at one point. We were waiting for about 5 minutes for one video, Ryan, for him to pull up one. And I mean, she gave him a lot of time, and I was like, you know,
the judge was very patient. So there's no way that Jedidiah or his team can say that there was any partiality or that, you know, anything was done improper, because they were they were overly generous in the judge was in giving him time. But I'm glad, like I said, at the end, she let everybody have his say, and then said that, well, I'm not going to dismiss this order because nothing you've presented is anything more than free speech. Basically saying, Amir can say what he wants. Again, you're not defaming him, and you're not threatening him. So there was just nothing there.
I mean, and so here's my thing for anybody. Let's give a brief, real quick, just a contextualization of orders of protection in Illinois. So in Illinois, guys, an order of protection can provide legal protection from domestic abuse, from harassment. Mostly, it's the courts are there to kind of be the intermediary because they don't want folks, killing each other, violent confrontations, that sort of thing. So, to get one, you've got to stand in front of a judge, and they literally you have to give them reason. They like more than one incident. They like how many? They like two, right, Ryan? They like two different incidents, and then you can file your order of protection. There's no cost, and then that's another thing. He's talking about he's losing thousands of dollars and coming to court. Well, how are you losing thousands of dollars and coming to court, idiot? Please explain, because listen, if that were a hearing, and literally, because I wasn't even prepared for a hearing, but if that were a hearing, he would have gotten chopped up, and so you'll get a hearing from the judge, and if your order of protection is founded, if the circumstances are founded, then you can get the order of protection can last up to 2 years, right? So emergency orders can be issued within 24 hours. So you can go to court at any time and say, hey, judge, I have this issue. You have to have 2 incidents, and they like them to be not consecutive, but they definitely want 2 incidents. And a lot of times they want it backed up by a police report or a law enforcement agency. Very rarely do they like you even walking into court without having, law enforcement. And you'll get short-term protection. So it's not about things like, this guy said, like he implied that because I showed my guns that, it was a threat to him. But in that post, I literally never even said his name. And I was talking about First Amendment and constitutional rights for gun owners. And I suggested that everybody should learn about gun orders and orders of protection as well as gun rights, because I'm a gun advocate. So I literally said that. So his name wasn't even mentioned in that. So, you're not going to get orders of protection based upon those things. But
and that's correct. Exactly right. If anything, it should bolster your case and my case even more, because Jed's bodyguard has murder charges.
Yeah, he has murder charges and a flurry of other charges, and he actually was there today. And the part that we did want to address is, he literally, outside of the courtroom, just so everybody knows, they tried to do another provocation to Ryan, and he told the sheriffs. I guess they told the sheriffs that you were recording or something like that. And the sheriffs made kind of a big to-do about it, but it was minimized when they kind of saw what was going on. So nothing really came out of it. And I'm gonna keep it all real with all of these clowns. Normally, if you literally, you can say whatever you have to say if you're not fighting and that sort of thing. And we went through that as well, Ryan. The Chicago PD with the first thing with Jedidiah. They weren't going to arrest, but they did tell him, hey, if whatever you're doing, if you're doing something, you're going to put yourself in danger, so you just need to chill out. That's pretty much what they're going to do. They're just going to pull the parties to the side and keep them separate and make sure nothing happens. Now, if a physical altercation happens, they are prepared to jail folks, but that's all that's going to come out of that.
Right. But it's so it always strikes me as so.
Hey, Wyoming. Hey, TK. How y'all doing? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. It always strikes me as ironic and sad, when Jed tries to make himself the victim here, and then it's like, okay, but you just showed up to actually had 2 hearings today. One got continued, right. So one was with Hassan and one was for you. But when you show up
Right.
to a courthouse with your bodyguard who has a clear public record of violent crime against people. It's not rumor. It's
Right.
not hearsay, right? You looked it up yourself. You've seen it. Um, so, and then you're gonna, I mean, and he also has a record because Harvey arrested him, arrested, what's her name? Alicia?
So they arrested Alicia Stokes.
And
They arrested
Raheem.
Alicia Spikes, Keisha Stokes,
Right.
Raheem, and Jedidiah.
Right. So he has a record of going and violent charges. So we don't. I don't. You don't. We're like, how dare you walk into a public courthouse for hearings and your bodyguard, your whole team, and by the way, Sheila was there today, and as we've pointed out before, Sheila should have been charged because she's on video. I believe she attacked your daughter.
We're working on that too, and that's not over with. As a matter of fact, all of the folks who were with Jedidiah that night, we have on video. We are working on those. We're working on a solution for that too. By the end of the year, I can guarantee you, every perpetrator out there with Mr. Brown, and then folks from the INA organization who have participated in harassment, we're going to take care of that too. So I mean, it's not over. It's not over with. It's only just beginning, and we'll see how it goes.
Right.
Hold on once.
But it just always surprises me though, that team of people. Oh, did you hear something?
Yeah, somebody's calling my name, and they know when I'm doing things anyway. So go ahead.
Oh, but no, it just always surprises me that when you bring in a team of people, that's why I say thugs. But I really try not to use terms like that lightly. Like, these are people that have convictions, they have arrests, we have evidence that they have committed physical, not just the threats. The threats alone can get you a no contact order, right? So if someone says, I'm going to beat your ass, or I'm whatever. But this is documented that they've physically gone after people. And then Jed's going to walk into a courtroom and say, I'm the victim. They're attacking me. Me or my team, we don't do anything. They were bothering us when we were working. I mean, it's the lies are just off the chart.
Well, and here's the other thing again. He has to legally understand before you try to start pleading a case and burning the courts down with some bullshit. Even in the case of July 14th, Beth was assaulted, and there was even a battery. And, because she's the type of person who she is, she hasn't, she's definitely someone who has the opportunity to petition. She knows that. But legally, generally, it's defined on just any intentional act that places another person in reasonable fear of apprehension of imminent harm. And, and so basically, if I come to you and I say, Ryan, I'm going to kick your ass, that you have just committed an assault, right? You don't have to do the physical contact part, because once you do the physical contact part, then that becomes battery. So now you have assault and battery, right? So you come to somebody in a menacing way and, in a forceful way, including imminent harm in your verbal conversation, I'm going to chop your damn head off. That's an assault. You can be charged with assault, right?
Right, exactly. And Beth said, yes, I was assaulted. You sure were, Beth, and I witnessed that. Someone had asked about, I think it was Gravity with Hassan's case. As far as I didn't hear it, but I think it was just continued, right, Amir?
Yeah, so his case was just, I don't like this one. He says, I don't like that one. He says his case was just continued. And basically, I'll post all of the dates for that. What's the son's continue to? I'll post the date. I'm sorry. I'll post the dates. So if you guys watch Amir Shakur Speaks, we'll post all of the dates for all of Jedidiah's cases from now to the end of the year. We'll do that. Just to kind of have, if people want to watch. And the chat queue was filled, And again, I'm gonna tell everyone, and I'm gonna suggest to everyone involved, this guy is unraveling as we speak. That's another thing I wanted to share in the small time that we're together. You know, there's a lot of things that he says that does not. I mean, it's just not making sense. And he's saying a lot of things. It's just you see a gradual diminishment. And I think that he literally should go get some kind of psychological help. Still not too late. And I think he might be doing that, but we'll talk about that at another juncture. But when it comes to advocating for the public, the other thing is, he tried to say that that event. Remember that event? He tried to use that and diminish that, saying it was an event that he was sponsoring. And you remember my complaint about it. I'm like, you're not even engaged. You're not even involved in that. And you're saying you're sponsoring it. How is that?
You can tell that he and Clark are definitely in cahoots, and I don't know if you wanted to share with the viewers. I don't have it pulled up right now, but just the other night, amidst all the true real panic and stress and concern about all the ICE stuff happening locally, in the Chicago area, but specifically in Harvey and in the Harvey area, Jed, instead of actually helping to address that crisis, he's shared a few videos, I think, where he was just equivocating and basically saying like, well, I think the immigrants should be here legally, and they should be they should deport them, but they shouldn't hurt people. But yeah, they should do something. I wasn't quite clear what his stance was, and then he shared some photos that somehow INA got a personal meeting.
Yeah, let me just pull those. Let me pull that up and see if I can find that right.
I have to say, as a resident of Harvey, because I know you don't live far, Amir, but you're not a resident. But still, just as a resident of Harvey, and I've talked to other residents of Harvey, that is downright like disturbing and shocking. Because when we've tried so many times to talk to our own mayor about things, like the mayor always he talks a lot like Jed. They're very similar in how they're always trying to shame other people when they're doing things wrong. And the mayor always says, it's your fault. You don't come to Friday, open office hours to talk to me. You know how many residents I've talked to where if you show up and Clark doesn't like you, or he knows you don't agree with him, his staff will say, oh, he's not available. Oops.
Seriously.
So then, now remember, in this photo, to my knowledge, I don't think there's anybody in that photo that I can see that actually lives in Harvey, including the mayor, of course, because we've heard time and time again, allegedly, Chris Clark lives in the north side of Chicago, not in Harvey. So how does Jed and all these people who don't live in Harvey, how do they get a personal meeting on a weeknight with the mayor by themselves at City Hall, when you have actual tax-paying residents who live here and have lived here for years, and we can't get any time with them?
Here's what he said. Last night was so refreshing and inspiring in Harvey. He probably used Chat GPT because he's a functional illiterate. Mayor Clark took time to meet with several members of Further Culture, INA, and we laid it all out on the table. No question was dodged. Then magic happened. What magic happened? What magic can Mr. Clark make happen in the city that is in the red, underwater, and suffering from crime, blight, and everything else? I mean, what magic could happen with someone who's not even a resident of Harvey, Illinois? I mean, I'm just saying. To be clear, we believe that Harvey can be restored, and they make it clear that's the goal. Together, we committed to making it happen collaboratively. So he's trying to say that he's going to single-handedly help Harvey be restored. Listen, man, I mean, like, what kind of dreams does this idiot have? I'm gonna stop sharing this because it's just. Let me share the good stuff. Let me share this right here. Yeah, that's
right, because I have to say, like I said, and I wasn't the only one. I talked to some other Harvey residents, but those photos, really, they're disgusting, and they show how not only is Jed lying, but Clark is lying. They're both liars. They're perfect for each other. And the more they talk to the public saying, "Oh, we don't work together, we don't work together, we don't work together," the more, and then they post this, like, again, how do you don't even live here?
Honestly,
How did you
he's
get
a
a place in
homeless
Times
grifter,
Square?
and he's talking about going into a community and restoring a community that's been deep underwater to the tune of probably millions. And what personal power that you can have when the sitting mayor of the city, who's already awesomely challenged, can't do one damn thing for the city, but but do stupid stuff like meet with grifters who have nothing to do with the city. He can't even sit down and meet with the business owners who justifiably who he should be meeting with and trying to make some kind of amends. Correct me if you feel indifferent, Ryan. Those are the people you need to be meeting with because those are the people that are bringing a flux of income. So why don't you try to make it good with them instead of meeting with somebody who will mean you and the residents no difference, including people like Ryan who actually live there and Ramona. And Gravity said it right. Gravity said this. Gravity said smoke and mirrors. And it is smoke and mirrors, but it's harmful to the point to where it's not just smoke and mirrors. It's definitely it's deception. It's deception. There's nothing that this person has done for himself or his community. He's been grifting, and if someone can tell me one thing that he's done positive within the last 10 years, the situation with Tiffany Henyard on the ground was a fight nonetheless. But I mean, that's even becoming a cluster because I mean, it was a back and forth and it didn't help the community. So he can't even claim that.
And also, and no offense, because that is how I became acquainted with Jed, and I was impressed at first, and I thought, oh, okay, cool. Like he's bringing a lot of attention to what's happening with Tiffany Henyard and blah blah blah. But I mean, a lot of activists, a lot of YouTubers, there were a lot of other people that were involved in that situation. So I mean, even that it wouldn't be fair to say, oh, Jed saved Dalton. Like that's not true either, because I noticed some people said, oh, Jabbar said, like, oh, Jed was good with Dalton, but now he's like a different person with Harvey. I don't actually agree, Jabbar. I don't think he changed. I think that just some of us, like me, like I thought he was sincere. I think we discovered what he's really about. But see, Amir, I
tried to warn you guys, and I tried to literally like calm it down to whereas when he was doing the thing in Dalton, it wasn't the point to whereas there was a fluctuation of people who were rising up against Tiffany. So he fit in with that under those circumstances. But the point where he started doing drastic things was when he started. The first thing that I thought was out of order was when he went outside of Tiffany's mom's residence, and a lot of people felt that was justified. But to be honest with you, the seniors, those folks are seniors, and they didn't run for political office. Their daughter did. So I mean, I don't know if they literally deserved somebody some idiot, mad range idiot on the outside hollering with a loudspeaker, saying the stuff that he was saying, going on to their door and ringing the doorbell. I mean, he didn't get arrested or anything, but I just thought that was just kind of where the whole downward spiral started. So, a lot of people thought that, and I think he won a lot of people, but as if they really knew, what it was, it's just a person who's trying to parlay a situation and a platform when they don't really have it. Anyway, French said something that was key. He said, Ryan, I bet you cannot yourself use this room. He's talking about the meeting with Jed. So,
You're correct. Absolutely. You can. It's not even a question of getting you never get time one-on-one with the mayor where he actually is going to sit and be respectful and have a dialogue. But you can't even use that room. And that's all the taxpayers building. That's our city hall. Like, you should be able to use that room. Nope. You're totally right.
And whoever the hell you are, you have to be exhausted from being on somebody else's post because listen, if you weren't on our post minding our business and not focusing on your own, then you wouldn't know that we were talking about Jed. So your logic is really a mute point. So you can just plug off if you want. If you want, I'll just block you off, whichever one you want. But I mean, your point is a mute point. So go find somebody else to play with because we ain't playing games. Good night.
Yeah, and I told you they'd say it again, and that just drives me nuts. We have a First Amendment right. We can talk about Jed or whoever we want as much as we want, as long as we're not threatening to harm him and we're not defaming him. What have we said about Jedidiah and how he's harmed other people
and we're not gonna.
If he can prove it's false and he can prove that we've defamed him, great. But I don't know about you, Amir. I haven't said anything that I.
And the thing is, we're not gonna play privilege to nobody's narrative because y'all narrative that y'all spin is for third graders. We're not that. I'm a seasoned activist. I went to school for this. Okay, and it's not a put down of anybody who didn't. But I mean, it's people out here who are doing real work, who are sincere. They're not threatening people. They're not harassing people. They don't have to make a platform out of putting somebody down and doxing people. And that's where you guys go wrong. So for you guys to be on my trend and Ryan's trend in our streams talking about, whatever you're talking about is totally asinine. So here's the thing. I just blocked you guys, but if anybody else wants to be removed, my block game is strong, and I'm not going to put up with it. So, and I'm not against First Amendment. If you guys have something to say it's legitimate, then we can debate about it. But if you don't have anything to say, you come in with this ignorant BS, I'll block you quick. That's it, because we don't have time anymore. We don't want it. We don't want no problems with it. My thing is that, there's enough of people who have been insulted, who have been inconvenienced, who have been threatened, who have been harassed. There's enough of that, and we just want time out for that. And we're looking at a final solution.
I was just gonna say, did you see Silverback Girl?
You want to read it?
Comment. Silverback Girl, you must know all these people. See,
Ryan, don't defend yourself to Judge Pug, aka Mara. So
I don't even know who that is.
Silverback,
these people.
Boosie, Sheila, Ushanda, Agnes, Darkest, Lisa, Shelby, and weak men like Stevie and R. Well, you know what? Here's my thing. They're part of a code. They're part of a losing situation in a sinking ship. And here's my thing. I'm gonna even go so far as to say a big disappointment was Mary Yvonne, who was there this afternoon with Jed. And here's my thing: as a sitting trustee in the township, you can support whoever you want to support. But Mary, it's in bad taste, and if that's the route you want to go, then hey, go for it. But I mean, I think that the township should know about your activities in the public. You are a public official. And again, you can support whoever the hell you want to support. I mean, at one point, I literally was in communication with you. Obviously, I haven't. But I mean, for me, this is an indication of public leadership gone wrong. You get a position that you rallied the public for, and you said you were going to be the leader of the public, but this is not it. There's a lot of things going on that are broke with the township. Maybe you could spend your time in advocating over there for, or going to Harvey and assist with Harvey. I would even see that if you really wanted to do something. There's a lot of things that you can spend your time doing other than being at a courthouse with an op who's working outside of public interest and doing criminal things and trying to stand with that person. I mean, it's just asinine, it's crazy, and it's idiotic.
Right. I do have to say that I was and French brought up the I am very curious to see how they're going to handle the lawsuit.
Which one? My lawsuit or INA law? I mean, LNC's
at the township. Because Mary's on the board, and I was really disappointed today. Even when I walked in, like I said, the first thing that they did, these are the people that claim they're being bullied, but they're the ones doing the attacking. I was just trying to walk into the courtroom. I purposely was looking at my phone because I was like, that's okay. They can do whatever they want. Jed and Mary and a few other people were out talking, outside the courtroom. And I walked in, and then Jed runs up behind me and is really loud. Remember, court's going on like right in front. He doesn't care. He's very rude. And he's like trying to tell the sheriff like, oh, get him. He's recording. Get him. And it's like I literally purposefully totally ignored Jed and his group. I didn't want to I didn't want any trouble. And I was disappointed to see Mary there, because that sends a message that, to me, that the township, in her official capacity, since she sits on this board now, that is lending credibility, or they're trying to say that they're supporting Jed. Like that's I just don't think that that's right. You know what I mean? I hope that she comes around, because Amir and I have had some great conversations. Like you said, you chatted with her. Like, I really want her to be on the right side.
It's too late. Mary Yvonne is not a trustee. Mary Yvonne is INA. That's what I'm going to say. Let's put it up.
Is she? Oh, so she is officially in their
you didn't know that?
Group?
She was their trustee at one point. She's supposed to be. Listen, this is.
I didn't.
Listen, I'm not
aware. I just knew that she had helped Jed, because like Jed was living at her place.
I mean, I'm just saying. It is something that's going to be. Jed mentioned that he was living at our house, and that's why we were sending the subpoenas there. And I think they said today that we can still send it because the address is on file. That was on record, right? Wasn't that said in court today? Or the judge mentioned the email address. I think is what she mentioned.
Oh, yes. The judge said that we can use email, so that's good. That was good to hear. Did you see Silverback posted, how can we report Mary? I mean, I don't know, but I'm really disappointed. I was hoping that she told me she was going to be independent, and that she wasn't going to just do, whatever Napoleon or Jed or whoever else wanted her to do, but it's not looking like that's the case anymore. So it's
crazy. You can't really, I mean, these are ethical things that, but if this person is not working outside of the law, I mean, it's unethical type behavior, and, there's not, if she's not breaking the law, there's literally nothing that we can do, but we can just keep. So there's two ways to go about these things. There's the court of public opinion and the courts of law. We are using the courts of law. That's what you're seeing happen in real time. And, the court of public opinion goes far. So we can continue to let people know, continue to post about it in the different groups and let people know, because, these people, and one thing about public officials is they got to run for re-election. They got to do things. There is a such thing as a sitting duck. I believe Clark is a sitting duck. I don't think he has any, but I mean, maybe he's going to prove everybody wrong, but I don't think he has any vitality in Harvey. He's spending more time fighting and defending his record than doing anything productive. That's what you call a sitting duck, So, and little things like, hot food giveaways, it doesn't do anything to help the plight of the community. Tell me how that might be something that's for a small segment of the community and a one-off at that point in time. But what about the global things that, what about the big potholes that are in the streets? What about the corrupt police officers? What about the things that really make a difference to the quality of life of the people in Harvey? I mean, I was driving under the viaduct from Harvey today, and do you know how dirty those viaducts are? And I'm saying, I don't know if it's up to the state or it's up to the city, but I mean, either way, the streets need to be clean. Where's that? Where are those initiatives at?
Exactly. No, I totally agree. So to be clear again, today, Jed had a motion to dismiss your
myself and Hassan's too.
Order.
So just so you. Right.
Oh, okay. So Hassan's was, whatever Hassan's.
It wasn't dismissed. It was continued. So, yeah.
Right. So, but the judge denied Jed's motion to have your no contact order dismissed. So, in other words,
that's her name right there, Judge Fournier, Kula A. Fournier.
Fournier. Okay, that's right. Yeah, I noticed that because I said, "Oh, that's a cool French. Looks like a French name,
28.
Fournier."
Yeah.
But and then the other issue was there was something about the date. The date did get moved. Do you want to
Oh
tell
yeah,
people the
so
new
it's right
date
there
as
actually.
you?
It's the date is going to be the new date. It should be on. I thought it was on here. Let me see something. Let me just pull this up. Okay. Uh, let me look. Let me look. Let me look. I know we said it. Yeah, 12/19. You can see it on above Judge Fournier's name. 12/19, 2025 in room 210 at 9 a.m. So yeah, it's there. But yeah, so we will definitely be more than prepared to do this hearing to get this order of protection granted. And the biggest thing that will come out of an order of protection, I don't know why he's fighting so hard to stay away from somebody, but one of the things is you got to give up your firearms for that specific amount of time. You can't brandish a firearm legally if you have an order of protection against you, which is a great thing. So, I don't know if that's what he's, praying for or hoping for, but, I mean, I don't know what the big fight is.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would, and I'm going to give him a one up. I would tell this clown to invest his energy into this $30,000 lawsuit that's coming or that's here, and maybe a possible second one is getting ready to drop because it's getting ready to drop, and then it might even be a third one by the end of the year, or if not by the top of the year, which would be this guy and members of his group INA as well. So those things are coming, and for me, bad actions. This is what I want to say to everybody. And I think I'm going to be done unless, and then we could just take some comments, Ryan, if you want, then we could. But bad actions always are going to have a reaction, especially when it comes to community. There will always be somebody there to oppose you. There will be always somebody there to say something if you act outside of public interest. And, there's the offenses go deep, deep and far. I mean, I remember standing outside of or watching the video. I wasn't there with Colby's stepfather, the elderly gentleman, when he got into the argument with back and forth with Jedidiah, and they looked like they were getting prepared to attack him that day. It definitely looked like that, like they started surrounding him, So I mean, and good thing for that didn't happen. The same thing that happened with me, but for for future reference, those types of things, if you literally think you're gonna go and hit somebody in public and think that you can get away with it, it's just not practical thinking. It just doesn't happen in this reality. There's always going to be consequences, criminal, civil, and everything else, and maybe a combination of each one. You might not get the criminal right away. That might come later on. We're working on that later on, but you definitely are getting hit civilly, and you're getting penalized hard, and we're going to continue penalizing you. And the other thing is, he's claiming that his mom is being harassed and all that. Well, damn, tell her to go to the police department and file a police report if she's being harassed, and then they're going to ask her for proof. And when she can't provide proof, then if it's not there and you didn't see it, guess what? It doesn't exist.
Yeah, that was sort of strange to me. I've never heard anybody threatening, really threatening Jed or his mom, or anybody else in INA. It's so interesting how he can make threats of bodily harm and defame me and others, but when other people say, hey, we're going to expose the scam that's going on with INA and how it's hurting people and hurting communities and hurting vulnerable people, then all of a sudden we're bullies. When you hear the truth, that doesn't mean you're getting bullied. Just because you don't like that people are telling the truth about you, that is not a threat. Can we clarify that? Telling the truth about Jed and INA is not a physical threat. It's not bullying. It's not harassment. But do you notice the pattern?
Oh yeah. And the thing is like he was claiming that that the legal action on July 14th He's saying, I'm being followed, so on and so forth. Well, God damn it, if somebody's not threatening you, threatening your life, they can follow you all if they want. You can go and file a police report. But the fact of the matter is, if we're activists, I'm actually a journalist. I don't know about his ass. I know you do community work, community service work, and you've literally been on the ground fighting in Harvey, and you've been advocating, and you're growing as even from the point of a community reporter. You are growing because you've been through attrition. You've been forced to be put in these positions, but not so much as forced, but you want to because you see how it's your voice being heightened will allow you to grow and gain your perspective. So I see it, and the thing is, if we're out there doing the type of work that we do, what the hell gives him the right that you can do it, but we can't do it? You're above us.
And, right? Does Jed and INA and for the vultures as they're calling it, is this new for the vultures thing, or whatever he's calling his group now? Did they own the public street? Like, since when did
Hey,
that
look,
happen?
Saint Center. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. I am going to
Oh
suggest
yeah.
that my thing is he's got a long way to climb. It ain't gonna happen with me, not on my watch. I mean, I'm a criminal justice specialist, so if he thinks he's gonna get away with this foolish bombarding of the courts and stupid ass motions and all of that, they're gonna be dismissed every time, just like this one was dismissed and denied today. So and to be honest with you, he should be preparing for this $30,000 lawsuit. But I can't tell functional illiteracy anything. So just a couple of recap, just a couple of comments, and then we can go. Um, let's see. Is there any ones you want to highlight? I'm just pulling up different ones. And thank you everybody for commenting.
Oh, I wanted to remind, if people are interested, in the next hearing, I will have a hearing on November 20th at 11 a.m. So.
Judge Ryan, Judge pointed out freedom of speech by Jed and by Jed. Judge pointed out freedom of speech. You mean okay? I got you. Judge pointed out it was freedom of speech. Yeah, that we were expressing our First Amendment rights. Which look, everybody has them. Everybody has the right to, and nobody should ever try to take away anybody's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say, anytime you want to say it, as long as you're not, nothing. As long as your actions don't lead to violence or anything else. Now, if you do, then there's other charges for that. But so.
Right, exactly. That's what I say. As long as you're not defaming anyone and you're not inciting violence or threatening violence, like because Jed talks a lot of shit about me and you and other people, and we barely even mentioned that. You know what I mean? We just want him to not defame and not threaten harm. But I mean, it's still freedom of speech. He can talk all day about how he hates us or if he thinks we're ugly or whatever. That stuff. Hey, that's freedom of speech.
Crazy said, Jed, why did Jed show up pick of the secret meeting with Clark for his case? I'm going to show that to the FBI. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't think that, I think it's in poor judgment of Clark to be meeting with these guys who definitely haven't done anything for Harvey, cannot do anything. They're not in a position to do anything for Harvey. And the bottom line is that they can do, if they want to do something, no one's stopping them from doing anything positive. You don't have to meet with the mayor. If you have the ability to independently help the plight of the community, then just do it. You don't have to ask nobody's permission.
Exactly. And the funny thing is that we know he could, because since Harvey Police protects, since he has this special relationship with Mayor Clark, we don't know the exact nature of it because the city won't tell us how they're spending our tax money. Because who knows, maybe Jed is getting money from the mayor. But again, we don't know because there's no transparency. But since we know Harvey Police is protecting Jed, see, he could do all the stuff that I want to do, but if I try to do it, then Clark will send the police after me. He could go up and just clean up random streets. He could go plant flowers. He could go rake some leaves. He could go do all this stuff. So why does he insist on continuing to threaten and harass other people? If you're really an advocate, why don't you go do some work? So many of us in Harvey, like me, Colby, Melissa, others, we want to go out on the streets and do good things, but like the mayor won't literally will not let you. I've never seen such a deranged politician. Like Mayor Clark is so obsessed, and he uses Jed on this scheme too. Where, like I said, if I just wanted to go out with the group and plant some flowers on an empty lot, I swear to God, they would send the Harvey cops and be like, "Oh, you can't be here. You can't be here." Like he's Mayor Clark is just as crazy as Jed is, and they're both bullies. I see Saint Sinner
Yeah,
said Jed's a
Saint
bully.
Center
Yes,
says sick of his
Marcus
lies, but
Jed,
we're all
they're
sick
both
of his
bullies.
lies, Saint Center,
Mhm.
just so you know. And yeah, we definitely know
Right.
what he is versus what he isn't. We know he's a fool. And dangerous would be to the extent to whereas, I mean, to be honest with you, I think he's put himself, I will say this, and we understand your point. He's put himself in more peril than anything else, especially at this point when the tables are turning now, and if anybody feels like they have anything to fear or that this guy has threatened you or his group, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you about how you can protect yourself. Ryan will do the same. Feel free to reach out to us because no one in the community should feel threatened or feel like they're being harmed. And there's ways that if it's the police, if you feel unprotected by the police, even there's ways of getting around that as well. So we're not going to allow people to be legitimately harassed without finding resolution, and not on my watch. So my thing is that winter's coming soon. This is what French said. Winter's coming soon. INA members, find a shelter for your leader. Winter's coming soon.
Well, I think Jed did say on one of his videos that he's looking for a place to live. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Tables are turning.
crazy.
Tables are turning. Yes, they are, Beth. And Saint Center, look, we know that we're not going to get hurt. I mean, we know how to definitely conduct ourselves. I had to literally grab Ramona's arm because what happened when we went into the courtroom was Jedidiah, when we were going up the escalator, he was literally behind. And, I started to engage him. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to even talk to this guy. He literally was like 2 steps behind. So I started engaged, but then I'm like, you know what? So when we got to the top of the elevator, then I saw Raheem, and then he was giving me the look like he was going to do something. So then I grabbed Ramona real hard and yanked her closer to me because I didn't want anything to happen to her. And, so anyway, he walked right past in more of like a menacing way. So, my thing is that the gameplay continues. We're not going to let that happen. And we're gonna go ahead and get to the bottom of all this. And things are happening. Tables are turning. Jedidiah is a menace, but he's a menace to himself. He's not. He tries to make himself a menace to society. But Doodle Brown is not, and Nino Brown is not the same thing. Okay, all right. So they not like us. Kim, aka It's Crazy, whatever the hell you want. Now who is this? Get off the internet. Hold on. What?
Looks like another INA.
Is it? All right.
Call that.
Well, I just blocked They Not Like Us, so there we go. I'm not going to play games with them, and they could go on somebody else's feed if they want to. They must be streaming us because I think they might be streaming us, but I don't give a damn. Do you?
Now, has Raheem been served for his?
Yeah, he got served. He definitely got served, but
Okay, so because my question is then why did Jed even bring him today? Because he knew the hearing was for you, and that you have an order against him. I'm not sure why. Well, I guess maybe because it was a public place or something, but still, especially when you said Raheem was getting close to you and getting close to Ramona, like this is what I don't understand. Like they don't respect any decent laws or rules, or you know what I mean? Like he knows that he has an
listen,
you probably could have even gotten
I can't
because he shouldn't have been anywhere near you.
I can't rationalize. So, even when I wrote that speech about my guns, I'm a gun owner, bro. And listen, it don't even have to go that far. But you know what? I am prepared to protect my family, anybody around me. And listen, I have a restraining order that says 1,000 feet. If they want to violate that and they want to pull an assault, then legally I am justified to do whatever I want to do within the law. And hopefully it never goes that way. But you know, when Jedidiah says I was threatening his life, no, I'm using my First Amendment and my constitutional rights, which is I will not hesitate to use in similarly suited situations. And we pray that it never goes that far. But you know, it's only so many times to where you can play with a person. It's only so many times to where, and I want them to note this, because I mean, try to play this in court, but I will use my First Amendment and my constitutional rights in order to protect myself and my family every time. And anybody else who was around, you know, and the thing that happened on July 14th was unexpected. It would never happen again. And the thing is that, you know, from the standpoint of where I sit, you know, even though a lot of the balls were dropped. Look, I said the draws were dropped. The balls were dropped. We will take care of all of that in the weeks and months ahead, and we are doing that. So I am perfectly. And so your order of protection was reinstated. He thought it was over with. He thought it was a game. He thought it was a gimmick. Do you remember, Ryan? Do you remember when he walked out when we were on 111th Street and that first time Judge Gump denied, and he was outside dancing in the middle of the street? You remember that? Well, let's see him do the same dance now, huh? When is your
he and his Raheem, his bodyguard with the documented history of violence towards people? Yeah, they were celebrating together. Again, the guy who accuses others of coming after him, and we don't have records of violence. We have no interest in any violence whatsoever. And he and his bodyguard, who has this long rap sheet of violence, they go out in the parking lot, and then they're hooping and hollering like they're you know, in third grade, and they just won.
He was singing like I got the victory or something stupid like that. I'm like, dude, you know.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's just really
mentally deranged is what the word is. Saint Sinner said, Jed, if you need money, go buy your teeth. Well, I don't know how much French. I don't know how much he's gonna be able to buy, because he got to pay me $30,000 if I win that lawsuit. So, you know, hopefully he have enough left over after that. maybe he makes some wooden teeth or something like that. Maybe somebody can carve him. Maybe one of the INA folks can carve him some wood teeth. Brian, you know what? The V-Knots is not something but if for lack of better use of the word, he does need a job. And Brian, let's say this: the job that he will have will be like making license plates in the Metropolitan Federal Correctional Center. That's the job that I want him to have. So, you know, that's it. What do you got to say, Ryan? I'm done.
No, I think it's about it. I'm gonna try to do a live. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight. My goal is to try to get to it tonight. But just about more of the ICE stuff, because it's causing a lot of anxiety. And yes, Jed has weighed in on that. We've shared how he has supported ICE and ICE coming to Harvey. The mayor, we're still, you know, waiting on. He really has not given a response, other than just telling everyone to be quiet about it, as if pretending that these fascist raids, you know, where people are getting kidnapped and disappeared, I guess, like if you just ignored the stuff, it's just gonna disappear. So I definitely don't agree with that. But yeah, I'm probably gonna talk about that. And the title of my show will be The Most Dangerous Minority in America.
Yeah, well, my thing is that you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate your effort. I appreciate everybody who's consistently kind of stood on the front lines against these ops. And let's continue to do it, y'all. Let's continue to do it. You know, we just want to make sure that, you know, we're not threatening anybody. We're not, threatening, talking about anything in that nature. But as long as we're not, then we can do things in decently and in order. You know, we keep the pressure up. And if anybody let LNC know that he tried to use that video, because that didn't work. And they tried to dox my channel too, about 3-4 weeks back, and that didn't work either. So I don't know. I think they're kind of running out of gains, but as we'll keep hope alive because I don't know. We don't know what they'll try next. So, and as far as Mr. Clark,
Right.
what do we say about him? What do we say about him? Mr. Clark, we are gonna continue to put the gas on the pedal. It's not in the tank; it is on the pedal. Okay, Mr. Clark, you will continuously be exposed. I believe you're a sitting duck, but that's just me because I don't think you've done a lot of productive things out of Harvey within the last 2 months. I would honestly, what I would like to see from Clark or anybody is give me a chart of the 5 to 7 most productive things he's done within the last 3 to 4 months in Harvey.
Right. Yeah. And he does, they've done a project here and there, but even the stuff that he's done, what frustrates me is it's always Clark and his gang. They always just do what they want when they want it. Like they're bullies, just like Jed. They force everything through, and then when you try to raise a question and say, hey, maybe we didn't need to. Did we really need to spend all that money and apply for a grant to redo a street, 154th Street, that was in really good shape? Oh, and by the way, what happened to all those beautiful historic bricks? Like, did they get sold off? Did you pocket the money? And then when we ask questions, they get so angry and they're like,
right. Well, those are like $25 to $30. Those red bricks are like $25 to $30 a brick, probably more than that. Who knows?
It's just just because you're elected, that doesn't mean that you get to just do whatever you want. You're still supposed to listen to the people, and that's what Clark doesn't seem to care about. I just got some information on, I haven't processed it yet, but like, for instance, last fall, Harvey was notified by the county of a $400,000 grant for fire hydrants. And we still have no idea which or how many of our fire hydrants actually work. So
that's so crazy.
That's just one grant, Amir. That's just one grant. So what's Clark doing with that money? That's almost $500,000.
Well, he won't open up the book, so we won't know. But listen, he can't stay around forever. He'll end up getting worn down because we're going to wear him down. Listen, he has not had as much pressure on him as he has right now. That's one thing I know for sure, and that's been reverberated. I mean, even the legal apparatus has said what we said, And so, oh, by the way, Javar is asking you a question right there. I just posted it for you. Was Keith Price?
Oh yeah, no, Keith.
No, he wasn't in the courtroom.
But Keith was in one of the photos that Jed shared of the meeting that they had with INA and the mayor.
No, Nate Fields was not there. Crazy. He wasn't there.
Yeah. Who else did we see today? I saw Mary.
We saw Mary. We saw Mary. We saw Sheila Ashley. I don't know that as a young lady, the one who was the Beth knows. What's her name? I don't know her name. We saw Raheem Sharks, and that other young lady. I don't know her name, but mark my words, when all is said and done, Mayor Clark will turn against Jedidiah because Clark is going to protect his platform for re-election. Pusley, you're so right. Pusley, you said it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I was gonna say I wish I could send a message to Jedidiah and to Chris Clark to say, if either of you had any wisdom or intelligence, you would turn on the other while you still have the chance, because eventually I'm just waiting to see who's going to turn on whom first.
And by the way, while we're getting ready to get off Pusley, they've been using your gases on the tank, but we are saying the gas is on the pedal for INA. So we're going to redeem you, my friend. And let's say this. The guy is on the run. I'm talking about the brown clown. And he can't come up with stuff, because, again, he sounded like a 6-year-old, a 6th grader trying to, it just was so pathetic. It was a pathetic display. And I mean, everybody was just laughing in the courtroom at him. I mean, you should have seen the faces, and even if they didn't outright laugh, you should have seen their faces, and they were definitely smirking and holding back from laughing. So,
Right. I
hey,
mean, really,
Diana
it's
just came. No apologies, just came
so
on.
ridiculous. Oh, hey, no apology. But yeah, it was like, okay, Jed beat on you and your daughter, and then he comes into court and is like, oh, but teacher or mommy, he's talking about me. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you beat on the dude. Besides the fact that he has like freedom, it's freedom of speech, but it's like he just sounds like he's a whiny child, and it's like, yeah, do you think that people are probably not going to have some opinions about you, especially if you attack them, like
And do
physically?
you think that people won't have negative things to say about you when you're out in the
Right.
public, you're making a little fool out of yourself, and you think that they won't comment about the negative things? You think that you are the guru of the universe, that you can literally stop people from saying things about you when you've made yourself a proxy in a lot of things and involved yourself in a lot of things that you shouldn't? So my thing is that,
Thank you. Yeah.
hold on one second. Calumet City corruption. The mobile home park in Calumet City, Illinois is called River Oaks Estates. Yeah, I know. I thank you. It's right next door to the old park. Yeah, so you're talking about Saint Center. I don't think I have you blocked on the channel. If I did, I didn't mean to. I'll check that. I mean, you must have another page, but I don't think I have you blocked, unless you mean Facebook. So just we're getting ready to get off, guys. So you can check this. You can check, go back and check. But thank you, Saint Center. Thank you, Calumet City, Illinois corruption. No apologies. Charge them 30. So just so you know, thank you for joining. Jedidiah Brown, Clown, Doodle Brown, whatever you want to call him today, tried to pull a publicity stunt and motioned to have this protection order case dismissed. And as you guys can see, it was denied because he sat in the courtroom like the functionally illiterate and buffoon that he is, and literally just lied through his teeth and several other things, and it took forever. It just was a pathetic display from a pathetic individual, and it didn't work. So, if you want to go back through the stream and look at it, and Ryan, when is your case again? When is your
Yeah,
hearing?
mine will be November 20th.
November 20th. And just remember, I believe the next thing is he has Vivian, and I think he has Vivian the 15th, and then Flynn on the 16th, y'all. 'Cause I thought I saw somebody verify that.
Someone posted that Flint was, I think, November 13th, but
Oh, they might have moved it. Okay, they might have moved the date out. You know what? He probably tried to move that date. Oh yeah, Tasha Holloway was in the courtroom. That's her name. I don't really know her. So if that's her name, all right. All right. And I guess the last thing that we can say is, guys, just keep it going. Keep the information out there. Keep sharing the information. Remember, we're trying to try this stuff in a court of public opinion, and y'all voice matters. So thank y'all again for watching. Thank y'all again for participating. This stream will be shared on my page and Ryan's page. And I think I shared it in the social justice groups as well. So if you guys got any questions, and let's see, this is the last one. Charge them 3304 as a fee. Congrats for you all. That's good news to hear. Yeah, we don't want. Listen, they keep talking about they're winning and all that. They ain't winning nothing. They are losing big time. And not only that, but they're losing in the court of public opinion because people are tired of the theatrics. People are tired of the antics, and people it's hard enough for people to put food on their table. They're not checking for this stuff. They could care less. We got ICE all over the place harassing people. We got a lot of things going on. We got corrupt cops. We got bad judges. I mean, we got a lot of things going on, especially Cook County and abroad, that no one cares about this and the folks who care, I'd say they need to check themselves. Check your heads, go get checked out, or, go somewhere and sit down and have a Coke and a smile, but It's not happening with us, and we're not going to let it die. So just keep watching. Thank y'all for sharing, and I think I'm good.
Yeah,
And
no,
if he
that
did
sounds.
turn, if anybody has any information they want to share about the Flint thing, if you guys are watching that, share it in our social media. Share any videos that you have, any posts. Thornton Township Citizens Action Committee. You can share it with me or Ryan individually, and I'll make sure that I share it with everyone, either one of us. But other than that, I think that's it, and I'm good. Was there anything else from you, sir?
I don't think so. And
Okay.
that jog. Oh, I was just gonna say that I know Jed accuses us of lying and cheating and stealing and everything else, but really at the end of the day, he's the one that is working with these, as you said, corrupt cops and everything. He. I know a lot of times people will get deceived, like I was originally, because he may say the right things, like say like, "Oh, the Democratic machine's corrupt and we need to change it," or "We've got corrupt cops and we've got to." Well, sometimes Jed does say things that are true. However, to me, he's like a Trump, in that he doesn't have any solutions. He's just making things worse. As a matter of fact, Jed works with the corrupt machine politicians like Christopher Clark. He works with and for them, and he benefits from the corruption. So, I just don't want people to get pulled into his rhetoric, because sometimes he does say the right things. Like he'll say, "Oh yeah, we need reform, we need to fight the corruption," but at the end of the day, I think that that's what we're doing, right? That's what I want. I think that's what Amir wants. I think Beth and others, they want to have more honesty in government. Jed might say that, but I really plead with people, please, as the Bible says, you'll know them by their fruits. So don't just listen to people's words. Look at their actions and how do they treat people, and that will tell you if are they really activists? Are they really for social justice? Are they really good reporters? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah. And guys, like I said, just keep the information up, keep sharing the information. You guys can go on our pages and do us one favor, go on our channels and share our channels, like and subscribe to the channels. Here's my email. I normally post Ryan's. Let me just post Ryan's in the chat before we get off. Because I always want to make sure we do that. And, oh, and by the way, usually get in contact with Black Pearl. She's trying to get in contact with you. Everybody knows who Joseph is. Joseph is the young man who was out on July 14th with us, and he did a great job. Just trying to keep the information out there.
Yeah.
So,
did you see Beth? Look at Beth's comments. Put that out there. That last comment, because Jed,
okay.
I've heard him lie about that. He says that Jed still claims that everybody in Flint loves him. So Jed says that it's not true.
Beth said, by the way, I've talked with the Flint ladies. They no longer support Jed. Listen, Jed has, can I be graphic without being graphic? He's ripped his draws in Flint, okay? They don't want to see this guy in Flint. They don't want to see him. And, hopefully they do the right thing or maybe find the right resolution for him. And, that might be a month and counting, I want to see it, and the judge, and I said it in every last post that they played. We want this guy jailed, but in lieu of that, our litigation will have to sacrifice for now, right? So listen, we appreciate y'all. I just shared Ryan's in the chat. I shared Ryan's YouTube channel. Let me show it right here, and then we can go. Ryan is YouTube, Ryan's Gay Chicago. And you guys want to reach me, you can reach me at amirshakurspeaks@gmail.com. Thank you all the people on the front lines, and no apologies. Saint Center, French, It's Crazy, just everybody, Jafar, the Midwest Dragon, Beth, let me see. I just try to acknowledge everybody, y'all. Gravity, thank you, Gravity. Let's see, anybody who I missed? Wyoming, yeah, Wyoming. I forgot about you. Thank you, Wyoming. So, guys, just keep up the good work, and let's keep fighting these ops. All right.
Sounds Peace. Like a plan.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Take it easy now. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.